r/askreddit. What's the worst legal thing you can do?
You can spray an AB. Totally legal.
Develop a wonderful, loving relationship with someone for a majority of your life. Kids, pets, trust, everything included. One day, tell them all you never loved them. It was all a game you were playing for the last 20 years. Divorce your partner and leave with the stash of cash you've been putting away for the last 20 years, moving to a new country never to see them again.
If you don't tell them anything and move, it'll be worse. Make sure you can be found on social media as happy and alive.
I read some online confession about a guy who had a meeting in the Twin Towers right when it was hit, but he had skipped the meeting and went out for lunch or something. After the initial shock wore off, he realized his wife and kids probably thought he was dead and thought about how much he hated his life there. Instead of calling them, he went to Canada and started a new life and never talked to them again, and just disappeared from their life for years and never went back. Could absolutely be bullshit, but interesting nonetheless.
Murder someone in that one corner of Yellowstone National Park.
That's still illegal, though. It's just not technically possible to convict.
It's more like it's a thought experiment that makes it possible to commit a murder there. Nobody has ever done it, and the only time a crime is committed anywhere near the area where this could be cited, the judge just said, "Fuck you, I don't care."
Bake cookies, but with chewing gum in them.
Recruit people to join Scientology.
I remember when I was a kid visiting my family in Florida, my aunt was telling me all about the Scientologists and their ways act. I was amazed, and she just goes, "You want to see them?" So she took me on a car ride and showed me their buildings and where the people lived at. It was just weird and creepy seeing all the buildings, the barbed wired fenced-in areas where people lived, and you could just tell the ones walking around who had been converted because they all wore similar clothes, walking around with this fake, creepy smile on their face. Even 15 years later, still remember it clear as day. I get it. Thank you, grammar Nazis, for the English lesson.
Sue your poor ex-spouse for child custody so repeatedly that you drain their finances and can't fight it anymore?
My coworker's ex did this to him. He completely drained his retirement accounts and is completely destitute and still doesn't see his kids, while his ex-wife's millionaire parents support her toxic behavior. Oh, and he bought them a YU for Christmas, and she heard and bought them one to give to them first.
Take her on a hike in Yellowstone. I hear there's a little corner that has the most beautiful view and laundry shop.
Have kids you don't want.
My wife and I have decided we don't want children. If anybody does, we can drop them off tomorrow. Stuart Francis.
A parent keeping their kid from the other parent when there's no good reason to and leveraging the courts to do it.
Yeps. My stepson is now 18 and living with us for the last 3 months. His mother screwed him up so badly. She would scream at anyone who would even partly listen that my husband was abusive while offering zero proof.
We are trying to slowly build a future for him. Luckily, it's bitten her hard. He wants nothing to do with her at all. Meanwhile, we are pushing him hard to get his own place, GED, and enrolling in college classes. It will take a long time, but at least it's getting better, and he can see what a screw-up his mom really is.
Thank you for doing this. I work in family law, and I see this way too much, and I try my best to reassure my clients that their kids will come around, but my word means not much when they're missing someone so much. I'm glad it worked for you.
Have a child. Never bring him out in public. Only take photos of him beside a mocked-up meteor crash. Let him find the pics when he's 13.
Brew, what?
There was a guy a while back who took a photo up a 13-year-old girl's skirt. The judge had some choice words to say, but the guy got let go because technically it wasn't illegal.
Doesn't that violate child pornography laws, though?
Probably got a pass because there was no nudity, so the legal definition for the area wasn't technically met or something. Ruined the world economy by handing out subprime loans.
It's kind of worse than that. They had loans called Nina loans or no income, no assets. No one should have ever let these people take out loans because they were almost assured to default. Then companies like Magnetar Capital would take a bunch of crap loans, package them up all together into Sea-Doo's claim they were a la carte.
Become a politician and raise my pay while creating taxes I'm coincidentally exempt from.
Any year that the nation accumulates more debt, all members of Congress and the Senate should be disqualified from getting a pay raise. I betcha the debt we've been accumulating so fast would begin to slow down real effing quick.
Most of the federal level politicians are already rich, and the ones that aren't are younger / from poor backgrounds. Those are the politicians who would be most affected. Rich tools who have been in Congress forever, who get campaign donations for tenths the salary they get paid, would be largely unaffected by raise or lack thereof.
All the crap that the Westboro Baptist Church does.
Luckily, we have that one amazing person who bought the lot across from the church and made so hella gay just for them.
Put a fake X on an ad.
90% of the time, there's one hidden in one of the corners.
Fire all your employees and move your business to East Asia so you can essentially use slave labor.
Happened here in Missouri, but they shut down and moved the jobs for half the pay, and no union when they took the 100-year-old business to Florida.
Listening to music and / or talking on the phone with volume up in public with no headphones.
Standing idly and filming people who desperately need help instead of helping. Like those kids that filmed and laughed as a disabled guy drowned and died.
In many cases, it actually is illegal to withhold aid from someone or to not notify emergency services if you are physically able.
You can leak the names, addresses, email addresses, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, and payment card details of nearly half of all Americans, and more than half of all American adults, and then settle for about $5/person. Hold Equifax accountable. Yo.
Don't forget 3 of their top-level executives sold a significant share of their stock holdings just before the breach was announced to the public.
Put your dog down because it's inconvenient.
Or worse, in a divorce, fight to get the dog you don't like just so that you can put it down in order to hurt your ex.
Schedule people to work 39.5 hours a week.
My girlfriend is constantly scheduled 15 minutes shy of the amount of time at which they'd be required by law to give her a break. It's gross.